world stands still and life moves on. I'm in the dark, nowhere to run. My pain's my own, and I can't share. Overwhelmed and unprepared. I'm not ready to just move on. I'm not ready to be alone. I'm not ready to share my tears. No, I'm not ready to say can't control my breaking heart. Is all I can hear. I need a sign to know you're near. I'm not ready to just move on. I'm not ready to be alone. I'm not ready to share my tears. Oh, I'm not ready to say goodbye. I'm not ready. Goodbye. My breaking heart.
So that lovely piece of music, Not Ready to Say Goodbye, was written and sung by my very good friend Douglas Davidson and Scott MacFarlane. And I have to say that we haven't really met yet, and this is the first time that we've actually really physically talked and seen each other. So isn't
That's
technology
true,
wonderful? Yeah. So I first met you well online, really, when you wrote that song because your mum had died, Douglas. You were singing it, and it was on it came onto my bereavement Facebook, I think. And I sort of asked you about it. So should we talk a little bit about that first, because that's what first brought us together?
Sure, it was, yes. It was a bit of a bolt out of the blue when I heard from you at that time. Obviously, my mum had passed. She'd died of cancer, and it had all been quite a quick transition. So I was left feeling I didn't really know how to express my emotions about it. I'd boxed them up, and I decided to write a song about it. So set to work, took some notes up to the studio with the other guys that I was working with at the time, Scott as well. And the song was born. The guys really liked it. I wasn't sure whether I should put it out anywhere, because sometimes when it's so personal to you, you know, you don't know if you should share something like that. But I did share it, and I've actually got no idea how you did come across it, because I'd only shared it on my Facebook page, I think, and it might have put it on our SoundCloud. So it must have been fate that you stumbled across it. Because that really started the ball rolling, didn't it?
I think somebody sent it to me, and then of course you wrote that fabulous song "Give All You Can," which I've got on my on all my sites at the moment, because I just love that. It's an amazing charity song, so we're going to play that at the end. But now let's introduce ourselves. So after that little intro there, so it's you call yourself Davidson MacFarlane?
Yes, we do. That's right.
Yeah. And you're singer-songwriters. So tell me all about yourselves. As well. And producers. So tell me all about yourselves. So let's start with you, Scott, because I know the least about you.
Well, we met at college, believe it or not. I was 18 and Douglas was 16. And at that time I wanted to be a PE teacher, and Dougie wanted to be a PE teacher at the same time. So and then we found that we both had an amazing love of music, and we started a kind of college kind of band, and the songs weren't all that good at the time, Douglas, were they? But
no, they weren't too great.
No, we regaled plenty of people at the college with our really, really bad songs at the time, but we thought they were fantastic, Alex. So that's when we first met, and we've been best friends ever since, really.
And then you both started. I mean, who writes most of them? Who writes most of the
Douglas.
songs? And do you write the words and the music?
Yeah, we do the lot. Our sort of style of writing is evolved slightly over the years, especially in recent times, which will fill you in how that goes. But in the beginning, yes, I suppose we were both songwriters in our own right, and we would just take songs, bring them together, and then we would go. We used to work with a producer, and we worked with him for a number of years, and we'd just take the songs up there, record them, and get on with it that way. But as time's moved on, Scott and I now do everything ourselves. Scott's become quite a talented, if not extremely talented, producer, and he takes the songs after. If I've worked on something, I'll give it to him, and he polishes it and makes it sound great. The other thing that really helps me, it's a fantastic way for working for me, as Scott comes to me with an idea, because as a songwriter, you know, if you've not got a focus, you tend to just write. You know, you could write anything. I can write one after the other. I've always I write constantly, so there's song after song after song. But when you've got a direction to follow, like we did with Give All You Can, when you've got that direction, it's so different. It just gives you so much more for the songs. And Scott gives me these ideas now, and that's really the way
it's always been the case, Alex, ever since we were young, that we really complement each other, because we generally share the same views. So when we first really got together, it was really important for us to know that we were connected spiritually. And we've had discussions before, Alex, about that's something that it's really deep rooted within us, that empathy and that love and that charitable part. So much so that Douglas ended up working for the Archdiocese, which is working in respite care, and I started working with the Prince's Trust, which was working to help and support young people, and we've carried that through all of our lives, and a lot of the aspects of the music that we've taken forward, especially the areas around the charitable side. So when we had the opportunity to write something like Give All You Can, we were delighted with that, because it really resonated very well with everything that we're about.
I just think it's a great song, and I feel like I let you down, really, because to be honest, it was such a lot of red tape that, and I think my big mistake was ever calling that a charity, because if I hadn't called it a charity, we wouldn't have had all the red tape, and it would have just gone. So, but it's not, it's only parked, and I've still got
the beautiful thing that Douglas and I think about music is that when you create something, generally it's never really finished. and also when you create something that it's there, you've got it out of your head, you've got it out of your, so Give All You Can is there, and it'll always be there. So whether it's done something or it's there, and for what it's intended to do.
We really enjoyed working on that song. I mean, Alex, you gave us so much. You had so many ideas in your head about what you wanted in the song. You gave us a lot of information to work with, and the song just wrote itself, to be honest. And because we had such a focus, like I was saying earlier on, when you've got a focus, it makes it so much easier, and you generally get a better song.
But it would go well to any charity, really, wouldn't it? And
absolutely,
I really want to see it out there. So when we play it at the end of this interview, I will say again that, if anybody wanted it, I'd be more than happy for them to use it.
The main thing from us, Alex, is it's a not-for-profit. We did it so that other people or charities or anybody can benefit from it. Because that's the most important thing, and it really does have that vibration, of what it's intended for. So without you, Alex, we wouldn't have crafted it that way. So thank you very much for that. It was really great.
And the one, Not Ready to Say Goodbye, I mean, I don't know how you feel about that, but I also feel that is very appropriate for the moment, when people are really not ready to say goodbye to their loved ones. So that's why I wanted to play that at the beginning. I know that you're doing a lot of different music and things now, but you're comfortable with people pinching that one as well if they want to, and to get in touch with you if they want to do anything more with it. But tell me more about the stories of what you've been doing and how you progressed to, because that looks like your studio now you've got there.
We're actually both in our own studios. We've both got our own studio now.
Oh, you've got a studio as well. So you've both got studios. Oh, right. You're not in the same room. No.
My keyboard's here. All my equipment's here. My guitars are all there. Drum kits.
Is this at home, Douglas? Is this at home?
Yeah. I was lucky that I'd actually inherited a space when we bought this house. It was just a cement brick built walls, and there was nothing down here. No one used it. So we converted it, and I thought I pinpointed that for my studio. I said, I'll have that.
Alex, it's a far cry from where we started off. We used to steal Douglas's loft at his mum's house, and it had hardly anything in it. And we had a wee keyboard. We had one guitar. You were the person playing the guitar. And now when we look around, and I look around at this, we've got studios. It's like, wow, how did you get there? But right at the start, it was just all about that, wasn't it? Your mum making the sandwiches and tea and all sorts of stuff,
and annoying the neighbours.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So is any of your stuff going out there commercially yet?
We've got an album, Alex. So
you've got an album. I should know this, shouldn't I? You've got an album.
It was in 2010 that we published an album with North Star Music, and Graham McLean, a lovely guy that runs that record company. We published that album on it's on iTunes at the moment. So, but it was, as I say, it was 2010. But some of the songs on it are very representative of everything that we do, aren't they, Douglas?
Yeah. Fun. We actually had a listen to it the other night together, and I've not heard it in about 8 years, and I was really, really impressed. I thought that's really, really good, and I sort of disrespected it over the years because I've forgotten about it and we've moved on so much. But that was the first time we decided to release something as ourselves. What we usually do in most occasions is look at publishing contracts and write songs. We still record them ourselves, but send them out to other companies, hoping that somebody else will cover them. But we've had lots of stuff used in television over in America on things like Faking It and One Tree Hill.
Wow.
Trying to think of the rest of them.
You pair of dark horses. You didn't tell me this.
Yeah, and we had a country singer, didn't we, Scott, who recorded a few tracks. That was a way back.
Chance Havens, his name
Chance
was.
Havens, that's right.
That was in the late 90s.
Yeah. So, we've had quite a few things out. We had another charity song, which it was selected out of thousands of tracks that had been submitted, and that was for the Gaza Ark, which Scott took a lead in that role. He worked very closely with someone that was quite close to his heart, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Palestinians were building a very small boat, probably about 8 or 9 years ago. They were building a boat to sail out of the harbour, and they wanted to sail with their produce, dates and flowers and various different things out. And they said that they wanted a song that encapsulated just the work and things that they would do. So I gave Douglas a storyboard for that, just about the things that are there, and we created Ship of Hope. And we were absolutely blown away when they got back to us and said, "Listen, you've won," because it was a competition,
Wow.
and we send it in, and we were absolutely blown away. Yeah. And on the back of that, at the time, my friend who was working and trying to go into Gaza at various different times, wanted to run a kind of music school, a kind of week-long music school. So we tried at that time to get all the things together, like to get people to go over, to teach people and to do things. And then obviously it's a very difficult and volatile area. So we didn't manage to get it off the ground because it was so hard, but it was something that we loved at the time. So that song we've got up on a YouTube clip just now. Well, obviously we published that again, not for profit, and we were hoping that the money would go towards the Palestinians to be able to build the boat and do what they wanted to do. So
you do such a lot, don't you? You're such big-hearted guys. So inspirational, really.
It's important, Alex, for us, yeah.
We're very spiritual, Alex. I think that when we first got together all those years ago, it was back in 1989, wasn't it? And we actually came together and we had a few spiritual experiences, and it just led us down a path really of discovering spirituality, I think. And
tell me about those.
Yeah, so we meditate, Alex, and we at that time it was called New Age, if you were looking at some of these things, and we were really taken by just the feelings of when you meditate and you get into that higher consciousness, and it feels excellent, it feels good for you, and it's also good for mind, body and spirit. But we also experienced that our environment around us was better the happier that we were. So it's something that's just stayed with us all of the time. So we continue to do it to this day, and it makes us feel quite connected to each other, to our families, and to helping people. And I think we both believe that happiness resides inside of you, and it's important to feel that way. And if we can do that, then we then channel that into helping other people, which we've kind of done really all our life, Douglas, haven't we? Whether it's working from charities or doing things. And I think a lot of people think kindness sometimes is weakness, Alex, but we think it's the ultimate strength. It's really important for people to be kind and kind-hearted and to give people things.
I think that because, I've said this so often, that there's the reward of giving is it's huge, isn't it? It's that lovely feeling that you get. And if I was thinking about Grenfell recently, and how in the horror of that, how people were coming from all across the country with stuff. And the reason that they were coming is because they wanted to help. But when you help, you get this great feeling of community spirit. And, and even now with COVID, we've seen communities come together and people help. So I think there's always beauty from the ashes. There's always something good that will come when people get together and do things. And I mean, you say spiritual. I like this law of attraction, what you give out comes back. Yep. And that's one of the lines in the song, because what you give out will come back to you, and it does. And paying it forward, which is really important.
Absolutely. I think law of attraction is something I hadn't heard about in the beginning. When Scott and I were following spiritual endeavours, it was really the secret that started the whole kind of gold rush of that. And when I discovered that, it was like it was opening up a whole new world. And what I really feel is, and especially in the last few years, as Scott was saying, you discover that the answers for everything are inside you. You've got the answers to absolutely everything. And the way the way that you can find, if you can find happiness within, it infects the whole rest of your life. Synchronicity starts happening. You know, things just happen out of the blue for you. They're just falling out of the sky, and a bit of luck for you. And if you believe in yourself and you believe, you know, that good things come to you, and you believe that you're a good person, and you can look inside everything. I do believe everything works out for you. You know, without a doubt.
And life has so many ups and downs and challenges, Alex, for us all. And Douglas and I have really kind of learned to use our spirituality and that to go through it. And we've had some reinforcing moments. My father passed away 4 years ago, and he passed away with cancer in the same hospital that Douglas's mum was at, and he passed away on the same day, the same date as Douglas's mum.
Wow.
4 years later, you know.
Wow.
And so there's lots of reinforcing things and synchronicity and things that keep us together as people. And you said pay it forward. It's what it really is all about. And if you continue to do that, no matter how many knocks or difficult things happen, you know, you will continue it will come back round to you in a positive way.
And I think I've realised more in recent years as well, you know, when challenging things do crop up, that there's actually a lesson to be learned in every challenge that you face. And it took me a long time to get my head around that. But now, as soon as if anything happens that I find out that's quite challenging, rather than getting annoyed and thinking, you know, why did this happen to me? I always look at it now and think, well, what would be the reason that what could I take out of that to improve? And you know, it never fails to amaze me. There's always something I can take out of it, and I've learned a lesson and moved on and grown, you know.
Tell me some more about the synchronicities that have happened for you.
Well, I mean, there's lots that say we every single musical experience that we have, something kind of pops in at the time when we're ready to do it. So Graham McLean from North Star popped in at the time that was ready for us when we said, listen, we'd love to create an album. We'd love to get that out there. iTunes is forming. Why don't we do that? And then Graham McLean was there. When we dropped our first ever demo, which was on cassette. And we recorded 5 songs, Alex, right? And we were so naive with that principle. We said, we're going to record these 5 songs and they're all going to get published. You know, really naive at the time. We sent cassettes away. We sent them to a self-first recorded delivery so that we could say they're ours. We sent them away and they all got published. And we couldn't believe it. We also sent a cassette away to it was a company in Liverpool, and it was at the time when the 90s when Cast and lots of Liverpool bands were, and there was lots of vibrancy there, and the guy was playing tapes on the phone to me, and then Douglas and I just decided we'll just come down and see you. And he popped out of the blue just at that time when we wanted to look at doing potentially an album and touring, wasn't it, Douglas?
Yeah, that's right.
And he offered to do that for us, you know, and things. So things. There's
a funny story attached to that, though, isn't there? Because we went down there and we said, you know, we sent you a demo and you said you really enjoyed it. And so he was like, oh, really? I can't remember. I'm really sorry. I can't remember who you are. So he was going through his office. We could hear him in the background. He was saying to his secretary, I can't find it. Where is it? Find it. And we realised that we probably didn't send him a tape at all. We just got to the wrong place. And he actually came out with a contract to sign us up there and then, and he didn't even have our music.
Things drop in at various different times, you know. I'm not working with the Prince's Trust now. I'm working with another charity called YMCA.
Oh, really?
And Douglas and I also had an idea about, you know, looking at a kind of TV show that was like the X Factor but different from the X Factor. It was everything. It was following real stories, real people, taking that forward. And at that time, I took that forward with the Prince's Trust. Both Douglas and I were working for the trust at the time. So we came up with a concept, and we wanted it, to benefit young people, essentially. And that concept, then the Prince's Trust were interested in it. And then there was a couple other companies from North America that were interested in it at the same time. And we just seemed to have that kind of synchronicity that happens. Yeah. And one of the most...
sorry to interrupt you. Well, I was going to say, one of the things that really happened for us when we decided we actually left working with our producer, who we've been with for so many years. It was about 20 years. So we decided to set up our own studios, which we did. And then there was a certain point of stagnation, and we thought, with nothing really driving us now, it would be good to do this type of work with other artists. And then all of a sudden, an email came out of the blue of a gentleman that had a project he wanted someone to work on, and it was a musical project. He'd written it was like a musical movie he was putting together, and he needed someone to record the music. He'd written the lyrics for the songs, so it just popped in right at the moment we'd been talking about it. And I said to Scott, "What do you think?" He went, "That's synchronicity again." So we went for it. We worked with him on the project. It was great. It really kicked the ball into touch for us as far as our studios and producing goes, and it really started Scott down a road of production. You really picked that up so well now.
We just run with it, Alex. When we get that thing that drops in, we run with it. We embrace it, and we just go with it. And Douglas and I are not motivated for any other reason than just to be happy, be creative, and to do creative things. And I think we're lucky in that way, and that's how things are there. And interestingly enough, Alex, in terms of this interview here, we've just embarked upon a project from lockdown, where we're about to release 2 albums with the record company, or with whoever wants to do it with us. Actually, we've got a record company interested in doing it, and then an interview with you kind of pops in synchronicity wise as well. So, and we've not really said much about our project, have we, Douglas, yet?
No.
And we were saying we'd like to talk about it. We'd like to do something about it.
You draw things in, don't you? You can draw things in. Yeah, I believe
just the same way as if you're in a negative frame of mind, you can draw. If you get out of the bed in the morning and you bump your head or you stub your toe, and you face it the wrong way, you get angry about it. It's just, you say, my day just keeps getting worse and worse. It's the same thing with happiness and enjoying your day. So there's a lesson to be learned. You can always look for.
I do think. I mean, synchronicity is such. Sometimes you don't see it, do you? It comes, and then you see it you look back and you think, oh wow, look at what happened there. And but what I have found, and I don't know if you find this, is that you start to draw very like-minded people to you.
Absolutely.
And you look around you and you think, yeah, actually, everybody that's around me has the same kind of. They're either very involved in charity, and it's not because it's kind of, they come to you, don't they? It's not because you're out there actively looking for them necessarily. It's just that you tend to draw people to you who are doing the same things.
But if you feel connected, it happens.
Yeah,
if you feel connected, it happens, and you do look for that, and people do gravitate towards you, Alex. They do.
It is about connection, and I think I discovered a couple of writers. There was Neville Goddard was one of them, and Abraham Hicks. You might have come across them in your time, Alex. But reading into what they do, it is very much, there's a form of law of attraction in there as well. But it really opens up things for synchronicity, and it made things a lot clearer to me in life. It made things a lot more. They made a lot more sense to me, and you draw things in. So I've grown. I think Scott and I have grown in a lot of ways. It leads you down some other different paths. We're looking at various other things just now. But I do believe if you can focus that energy, you can draw anything to you or anyone, and you'll find that people that have got a negative influence in your life start to drift out, you know.
And we really appreciate how everyone has their own, we talk about their own truth, don't we, Douglas?
Yeah.
How everybody has their own truth, they have their own vibration, their own things that they're connected to. And I think having that grounding in, you know, empathy and love, you can just learn to appreciate and respect everyone really for their views, for where they are and what they want to do. And music's been great for us in that, because we've been able to channel a lot of things in that way and put it into that. And you know, the project that we've got just now is we've not commented or said anything on social media, Alex. We're not like that. We don't get upset with anyone really, because people are doing their own thing the way they want to do it. What we are doing is really kind of living our own kind of truth. But we do see there's a lot of things happening at the moment, and in terms of, you know, socially and in the country and the planet. And rather than sound off about it, we channel it into writing music. And some of our key inspirations, you know, are people like John Lennon and, you know, Bob Marley.
I was going to ask you that. Who inspires you? Your favourite musicians?
John Lennon's one of the ones that we both really share, Douglas, don't we? Yeah.
Certainly for me, yeah. And when I was a kid, it was John Lennon and the Beatles. That was, I mean, they were seen as old hat at that time. But I just, as soon as I heard them, I fell in love with that kind of music, you know. So, but we can appreciate any style of music. It doesn't really matter what it is.
Douglas Douglas and Kenny, who was our producer at the time, used to really rip me, Alex, because I loved 80s. I loved all that 80s stuff that was going on.
The digital stuff.
and Douglas and Kerry were really steeped in, you know, not 80s stuff, you know. But it's interesting how, you know, 80s is making a bit of a revival in terms of some of the music and some of the digitization of sounds, and So
we had great music, 60s, 70s, 80s. I mean, I couldn't tell you what's in the charts now, or even if there are, maybe it's because I'm older, but it's not. But when I hear my son, who's, you know, he's in the music industry anyway, when I hear him singing something and saying, "This is great, Mum, do you know it?" And I'm thinking, yeah, I was clubbing to that, you know. And it's like that music will always be there, I think. I think the sadness is that we're losing some of our best musicians now. They're getting old. I mean, gosh, I was shocked, really shocked. Paul McCartney, 80-something. He's nearly 80, isn't he?
I know.
Yeah.
I hope he's 80. Is he 80?
No,
70-something.
I'm annoyed at you for that.
Sorry. We'll
He's
put my hand up there and get
50.
that taken out. Yeah, but they're going towards their 80s, aren't they?
That's true.
What about Rod Stewart? I mean, he must be in his 70s.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
But it is nice that you spoke about your son, Alex, because my daughter, I've got two daughters, one at 7 who's about to be 8, and the other one at 17, and she was playing the music in the kitchen while she was doing the dishes, and it was, all the songs were coming on. It was Eric Clapton, Layla, it was David Bowie, Starman, and she's playing them and she's listening to them. So I do think music is timeless, and the younger generation, if it sounds good, they'll jump on it. They'll go with it.
Yeah. Are your children musical?
Mine
but shy.
Yeah. In fact, I'm doing them a disservice. My daughter has an incredible singing voice. I hear her singing all the time. She's 10, but I had to stop one night. I was going past the bathroom door, and she was in the bath. She likes to go in and sing in the bathroom, and I could not believe my ears. You know, it was like she sounded very like Amy Winehouse.
Wow.
And I thought,
she's definitely got some.
Tapped the door and I said, "You're going to be recording with us soon."
Wow, that's fantastic.
What's interesting, Alex, is that on "Give All You Can," you know, the child voice at the end, that says, "That's my daughter, Kira."
That's your daughter. See, I wondered who the children were.
She thought that was before high school, peer pressure, various different things kicked in to stop her, you know, doing some of these things. So that was one of the last things that we got her to do. So So yeah, the kids are musical, but it's like everything else. There's so many different distractions. But Darcy's she's got such a wonderful voice, Douglas.
Yeah.
You know,
I
and
can't
she's at
wait
that
till she
age as
starts.
well, you know.
Yeah. I can't wait till
It's
she
so
starts to get a bit
lovely
older
that
and
you
record
two
with us.
have. It's lovely that you two have always had each other, and
Yeah.
you're still together. It's a lifelong thing that you're doing there.
We've got
isn't
through
it?
some tough times. I think when I lost my father, it's probably because he was the real parent in my life. And when I lost my father, Alex, it was probably the hardest time for me as a person in my whole life. You know, and Douglas, having been through that and understanding the process of that, and it was the first time I had significantly lost anyone. And Douglas there. So we've been through some fantastic times, but we've also shared some really difficult times. And one other way that we get through that is humour, so we don't take ourselves too seriously. And we reinforce each other with that, you know. And I think Douglas is like part of my family, really.
Yeah, we are incredibly lucky.
Have you both still got one parent?
Yes.
Yes. My mother was like Scott. My mother was she was the parent that was the sort of the person that I would always go to, the one I was closest to, the person that always knew the answer to everything, always knew what to wear, always knew what to buy. If you were buying a gift for someone, she always knew what to wear. If you were going to a formal, if you're going to any sort of gathering, she always had the answers for me. So I found that very difficult as well. So I think that's what related there. But Scott and I have been, I'm so grateful that I met Scott, and we do say that to each other quite often. You know, it's like we feel so lucky to have a best friend like that, you know, because I watch my dad now is on his own, obviously. He's excuse me, I'm choking. He doesn't have any friends. It was all through my mum, their friends, you know, so. And I really feel for him because he comes down and he says, "Oh, I've got nothing to talk to. I've got no friends and things." And I think I'm just so lucky that I've got a friend like Scott, you know, so we can share everything together. So
yeah.
And as I said, Alex, we don't take each other too seriously, so we can rib each other about various different things. So I will definitely get a wee bit of ribbon for my lovely hat, because I love to do certain things. But it's just the way you've got to share and have fun and try to enjoy life and do that, because in the harder times, you know, you can see that light and shade. You know, if you've had really good times together, you can then, you know, get through some of the difficult parts. And music was the thing that brought us together, and we continue just to express ourselves through it, really.
But the music business itself is, it's a roller coaster ride, you know, because we've had some incredible disappointments as well along the way. You know, we've had artists record songs and get dropped from a label like the week before they were due to be released, and we've had all sorts of things. You know, you just couldn't write it.
It's a very difficult business to get into,
absolutely.
and it still is who you know. Some of it is still who you know. That's what I was going to ask you next, because I did an interview this week with Big Ian Donaghy, I think his name is, and he does a lot for charity, and I asked a couple of times for people to help out with him, and I was saying to him, how does it feel when they don't? You know, I mean, we the three of us, we're all people that go the extra mile, and I know a lot of the celebrities do, but you know, I get a great sense of disappointment when I've spoken to someone and they seem very warm, and then you ask them to do something and then they just don't even come back to you. And you think, I'm not too busy. How come you're so busy that, you know? And I said to him, how do you manage that? And he said, well, you know, I'd rather they said no, because that is a yes, I'm not going to mess you about anymore. Whereas if they just keep you hanging on, that's really bad, because then you just keep hoping, you know. And he said, I just get on with it. But that's what I was going to ask you. How do you cope with disappointment? Because I mean, this is a really tricky business that you're in. So
it certainly is. I think initially some of the initial letdowns were quite dramatic. personally speaking, it took me a long time to get over it the first time. And I'm sure Scott would probably agree with that as well.
Yeah.
But you get to a point you almost become numb to it. And then you get to a point where when good things start coming to you, there's a doubt in the back of your mind. You're saying, I don't really know if this is going to go anywhere, so I'm not going to get excited about it. But I think we've grown through that. I think, if it's for us, it's for us. If we create it, if we draw it to us, it's for us. And if it's not, then c'est la vie.
I've always had a very, very strong connection in terms of Douglas's writing, Alex. I mean, and because some of the things that Douglas has written and the lyrics that he's crafted and the melodies he's crafted, I personally think are genius. And what it's so difficult sometimes when you've written something and you've put that out there, and so if you Not Ready to Say Goodbye was a song for his mum, but the frequencies, the chords, the melodies, the lyrics are pretty special. And sometimes when we put things out and we're let down, it's difficult. And I think Douglas does, he absorbs that a lot more.
Well, it's so personal, isn't it? And your heart is in it. That's what I know about you. Everything that you both do, your heart's in it. And there's a story behind it, I would imagine, quite often too, because you do seem to sort of bring the right words in. So the stories.
It's what we've done for the current project that we've got. So we hit upon an idea to have 2 albums, which put quite a lot of pressure on us, but we found that we could write it fairly straightforward. So we've written probably about 25, 26 songs now, and we're recording them. We've got them in really good shape. And the 2 albums are different, Alex. One's called The Word, and that is talking about social commentary, the things that happened in early lockdown to us, to families, to Douglas, some of the things that's there, and then a wee bit about what's happening around us. And then we decided, it just came out of nowhere, that we would write The Answer, which would be bringing hope, spirituality, and giving people an idea and a sense of community and things that they can do to take forward, and encouraging them to look after themselves. It's a very difficult environment for everybody to be in. So we get to that point, don't we, Douglas, that we have a project and we say, right, we really want to do this. Who do we want to do it for? Well, we want to do it to express where things are at, but equally to connect with people. And even if 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 people take something out of whatever you create, then you've done your job, I think.
Yeah. Well, is that what you're working on now then, the album?
Yeah, it's very different for us. It's a very, very different style. It's very high tempo, but it's breaking some rules as well. We're crossing different genres of music across this sort of almost dance, almost club type beat. We've never really gone down that road before, but it really works. And the songs all have a message, and it's a strong message. And that's where Scott gets a lot of them. We meditate every day, and Scott gets he'll look for answers in the meditation, and then he'll come to me with a script of, Douglas, I think we should write a song about this, and here's some of the bullet points that I think. And when he gives me that, I come into my studio, and it's like grease lightning. It just appears almost by magic, and it's a system we've now got into doing, and we've done it through the whole album. We actually started off doing a dance album during lockdown, and we finished all the tracks on it and then didn't use it because we'd started to get into this sort of social commentary on what's happening locally, nationally, globally, and then it led into the next one. So there were actually 2 or 3 albums that we scrapped in that whole lockdown period as well. So I mean, Scott was saying there was about 26 songs, but in total there was probably 50, 60 songs. But we decided to go down. This was really working for us. I think we've found something that's quite fresh, which is quite difficult to do nowadays. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's not a lot of new music been in the charts over the last year. It's a lot of things from the year before or 2 years before. Just
I
because
think everybody
artists are a
took
bit
the time to
apprehensive.
write, didn't they?
Well,
People
that's it.
kind of took the time out to write more,
Yeah.
so there'll probably be more next
Well,
year.
definitely got that, but a lot of artists don't want to release music just now because they'll not be able to tour it and think they'll maybe not sell it as much.
Yeah.
So there's not been as much material out there. I'm sure there's a lot of artists have been busy in their studios, in their basements, scribbling away and writing new songs. And I know that we've not let a minute go to waste.
Yeah, it's what, if you're involved in music and creation, it's when things happen that mean something, and they're powerful. It's a way of expressing what you do, and I'm sure, Alex, in your environment, you'll be expressing some of the areas, and you have done all your life, really express some of those things that you're connected to, and things that happen in life for people and there. So we're just like other people, and when these things happen. But we did feel this time that we aren't really people for commenting on social media or saying things negatively, Alex. So what we decided to do was say, okay, let's take a vibe of what's happening this week or next week, because it changed so dramatically. And we said, right, okay. And I said to Douglas, I says, this is your challenge. I says, you need to get that right, get writing and get these songs. And wow, the amount of songs that you managed to put together. And I think, the only part that where we're at the moment is we've got all the content and I'm producing it and we're mixing it. And we are hopeful that someone picks that up and does something.
That's the hard part, isn't it? Yeah. For us, we've always been creative minded, so, and certainly with myself, when you're very creative, you tend not to follow through the other part, the business side of it. You tend not to. Scott's very business minded, but you tend not to really promote your song. And I don't like to talk about myself to people because you don't want to sound as if you're bragging, or you don't want to sound this. So you end up just not doing anything. You not saying anything. So promoting it is a difficult. I've always found that very difficult. I've always found it a challenge.
But we learn that it's part of the process, Alex, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think for the creativity that we've got just now, we are definitely going to push that forward and push it out and see what happens from there. And
but we've been enjoying working with other artists as well. We've been working on quite a diverse the diverse styles anyway. So we've gone from writing some club tracks there, and I've gone straight from doing a club track literally yesterday, and then on today to do a country music ballad for another writer. And I've been sitting in here with the piano playing that, and the two songs couldn't be more far removed from each other, But it's just when you're in the zone, you write and get involved in anything, and you realise the beauty of all forms of music,
Does some of your stuff go out and then people claim it for themselves? So that you're not. So you're like ghostwriters then?
Well, yes, that's very much more common nowadays. Artists will be approached for their song, say, well, my artist wants to record your writer's song, but wants to basically say they've written it. And I probably shouldn't say this on on TV, but that's what tends to happen. A lot of artists.
Does that hurt? Does it hurt?
It can.
Or does it kind of feel okay because at least it's getting?
I think it would have hurt. I think it would have hurt me before, but as I say, because music business is such a roller coaster, and Scott and I have just learned to cope with the emotions of up and down, and so we just coast through it now. And I think if that happens, it doesn't affect me at all. It's it'll just wash over me, because you will get writers who maybe they were songwriters and have run out of material, and a budding writer is just more than happy to give them their track over, and then you won't see their name mentioned on the credit, but they'll get royalties for it. And I don't have a problem with that either. I would prefer, obviously, in an ideal world, you would prefer that it was your name that was attached to it. But I just like writing music, as does Scott, and you just want to get it out there. you know. So
yeah.
But you have a fantastic voice yourself, and So do you go out gigging? Do you ever go out gigging?
I used to gig constantly. We were gigging all over the country, even and down south as well. We used to gig quite a lot. So loved it. But what we really do is we love writing and the creative process even more. And I think Scott's really passionate now about the production and the mixing of the music, which is a real art form in itself. So we're much more passionate about that side of things. Yeah. But there is something that you do miss about performing it yourself out in front of an audience. Yeah. You know, and I really feel for artists just now that can't do that.
Absolutely. But we really, we would love to do things ourselves, Alex, but equally we'd love to do partnerships and work with other people. So the key thing is we're very open really about it.
We're open to anything, to be honest. We are, you know.
And then sometimes and sometimes in our history with music, that's been challenging because some people see that openness as a wee bit of weakness and want to take things forward. But again, you know, you don't really get any. We don't believe that you get anywhere for being negative. So we embrace it positively.
You are two of the most positive people I think I've ever spoken to. You, whatever it is, you're always so lovely and
thank you.
I want to say humble, but humble doesn't seem the right word. You kind of, you know, you're just really nice guys.
I think grateful. I always feel gratitude for anyone that takes the time to have any sort of interaction with us. I think you bring that into your everyday life. And humble, there's nothing wrong with being humble.
I also think, Alex, that what was really important for us and growing up and some of the working areas that we spent, you know, I know for Douglas and dealing with respite, you know, and for me dealing in the Prince's Trust and working with young people. And I think when you do experience that type of situation in your life, and we both grew up in areas that weren't affluent, you know, and when we were younger, we both didn't have lots of money and things like that. And I think so if you have those experiences and we both worked in the charity sector, then you do get that sense that, you know, there are others less fortunate than you, and if you can help them, then and you have the capacity and you're able to help them, then it's important. So I think we've had that. We've been lucky to have that grounding in that way in the work that we do. And I work for a YMCA, and at the moment the YMCA are really trying to just help people in our community, you know. So we still maintain that connection, Alex. That's why we're able to do that.
Yeah, and I think it's taught us that, you know, attitude is a choice. You know, your whole attitude towards anything is your choice. You know, you can choose to be a victim at certain times, or you can choose to say, well, you know, I'm just going to get through this and I'm going to deal with it, and I'm just going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to be happy. You know, and I think discovering that for me, I mean, I had some issues with depression years and years back, and there's a song, I song I sent to you, called "The Darkness." That Scott got me to write it. You know, I'd always sort of shied away from writing anything deep about that, or certainly attaching it to myself. But that's something that, you know, that doesn't touch me anymore. I don't feel anything of that person that was writing that song was about, because, you know, I discovered when you look inwardly, you can deal with things, and that everything that you display is your choice. You can change it, you know. So
yeah, I think that's true. And I think that the thing is that it doesn't matter how much we talk about mental health issues, depression, that kind of thing. There's still always going to be that stigma, isn't there, of people not wanting to admit it because it makes you feel less valued. But having, like you, experienced that, it's usually the very lonely hours where you can't see the way forward.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I've been in the darkest of places, you know.
Yeah.
But things like mindfulness and you know, these things, people often discount them because they think, well, that's never going to really work for me. But it's incredible the power of these things, you know, and because they really get you to look within and you get to think about things in a different way, and coping mechanisms until you
and
become.
I think that music is a great medium, isn't it, for expression? Yeah.
Well, I don't know how I would have got through these lockdown months. You know, that's nearly a year we've been stuck indoors, and if it hadn't been for music, I don't know what I would have done. It would have been a much more tough time, I think. But I've actually enjoyed every minute of the time that I've had to actually spend on music, which a time that I probably wouldn't have had otherwise. I would no way I would have been able to put the same amount of time in that we have done. And we've learned a lot and gained a lot. As we just need to follow it through now and get it out to the right people.
So how? What will you do? Give me some links to I know you sent them to me, but what did you put the links up to the albums? Are they on iTunes then?
Yeah. The best thing to do is to maybe put the links just in the notes or whatever. If I don't know what formats you're going to release the video in, Alex. And so the album is on iTunes, but we've got SoundCloud that have links to various other songs that we've done. And obviously Revelator is the new type of project that's there.
Well, send me your words then to go on it, because when I do the write-up for the YouTube, send me your words with the links in, because then I can just put that onto there. Now we're going to play the Give All You Can, and I honestly, it's been so lovely to have this chat with you. And we will do it again. And I know, and you probably would have said, why didn't she choose some of our new stuff? And that's because those two songs, the one that we open with and the one that we're going to finish with, I mean, I just can't tell you what Give All You Can means to me, really. And I remember the first time I heard that, I was just totally blown away that somebody could write something so perfect for that. And it just completely went pear-shaped just because I called it a charity. But I'll relaunch it, but hopefully if anybody else is interested in that song, they can get in touch with you
by all means.
Absolutely
yeah,
it's been really a pleasure. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, both of you, and it's really been great to see you. And I am going to keep in touch with you so that I know what's happening. But good luck with your new ventures. Thanks again.
Alex. Thank you.
Bye.
If life's only a heartbeat away, let's make it count, let's do it today. What are your hopes? What are your dreams? What's on your list? Let's make it real. If we could share all the skills that we've learned to help out someone in need of a friend, because what you give will always come back to you. Have faith in your heart, you know what to do. So please give whatever you can. People unite, let's do it right. Do all you can. Please do whatever you can. Give it your all, your heart and soul. Give all you can. it right. Give all you can.